Hey y'all. Welcome to Lulu Shows You How.
Hey everybody, hey. Welcome back to Lulu Shows You How. So, I want to show you all something in just a moment. What I want to talk about first is the difference between juicing and blending. I did a post and I showed some juicing. I also did a post showing making a blended drink, kind of like a smoothie. And I know sometimes we get confused, or some people may get confused, or may not really know the difference, think that they're the same, but they really are not the same. They both have different benefits and different purposes. So when we juice, we are pretty much extracting the juice from either a fruit or a vegetable, meaning we have a device and we're going to put fruit, clean, fresh fruit in, and we there's a process in which it goes through the machine and it squeezes the juice out of the device, and what's left over is the pulp. So we get the juice and the pulp comes out. That pulp is fiber. So when we juice, we take in the actual juice from the vegetable or the fruit and we're extracting the pulp. And that's what's left behind, the fiber. However, when we blend, everything we put in is getting blended up. It's getting cut up real small, real fine, depending on the quality of your blender. And then we're digesting all of that. So we're getting the pulp and everything. So that's the biggest difference between a juicer and a blender. Wow. So what's the difference in reference to how it impacts our body? In other words, what's the benefits of juicing versus the benefits of blending or making smoothies? So when we juice, there's a lot of different benefits. First of all, when we juice, because we don't have all the pulp, which is the fiber, it's a lot easier for our bodies to digest that. Again, when we're not digesting all the fiber, it's going to go through a lot quicker. We are able to quicker absorb those nutrients and those vitamins. On the other hand, when we are blending, because we're getting all of that pulp in, we're going to get all that fiber, right? So that fiber for some people can be kind of hard to digest. Sometimes people may have get gas and so forth. On the other end, because of the fact that we're intaking all of that fiber, all of that bulk, that pulp, we will get full faster. So we're more satisfied and we don't get hungry as fast. Another big difference between juicing and blending, and I'm always reminding folks about this when they're blending, especially a lot of fruit. You have to be cautious if you're diabetic or so forth, because it's easy to put a whole lot of fruit into a juicer and you may get a cup of juice. But say for instance, if you juice 5 apples, okay, you may get a glass of apple juice because all of that pulp has been removed. But what's the chance of you sitting down at one time just eating 5 apples back to back? Crunch, crunch, crunch. Usually that doesn't happen. So if you're diabetic, you have to be careful of the sugar intake. When we juice and we're using a lot of fruit, that's a lot of sugar. So that's something to be very mindful of. So one thing to do when you're juicing is make sure you're balancing that with vegetables, okay? And when we're blending, we're better able to balance our blood sugar because it's not as much sugar and it's a better balance. So that's a big difference. Sometimes we want to just juice things. We want those nutrients. We want those quick nutrients. I mean, maybe we don't want all of the pulp and the fiber. And then there's other times when it's more appropriate to blend. Say, for instance, too, you don't have a juicer. You only have a blender. What could you do? I'm going to show you that in just a moment because I realize everybody don't have both appliances. So if you do not have a juicer, you can still blend. But remember, the biggest difference is we want to remove all of that pulp. When we remove that, we are removing the fiber. Okay? When we remove that, we are removing the fiber. So, what are some good things to juice? When you juice, think about the fruits and vegetables that have a lot of water. So that could be apples, carrots, celery, cucumbers, beets, all those items that have water in them. You can also juice, different herbs and green vegetables and so forth. But think about the ones that have water. When we blend, we can blend those items as well, but the best thing to blend are the softer, more mushier type of fruits and vegetables. So if you think about bananas, right? Berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, even pineapples. Pineapples can go either or. Spinach. Avocado is awesome too to blend. Please don't put it in the juicer. But it's awesome to blend because it gives it that creamy effect, and you get a lot of good nutrients and oils from your avocados. And your supplements. If you have certain supplements that you want to take, whether it is wheatgrass, even kale, even different a lot of different supplements, you can throw them in your blender as well. Maybe you're doing certain type of powders, maybe hemp seeds, maybe your flax seeds. You can throw all of those items in your blender as well. So when we're blending, again, we're just kind of mixing a whole bunch of stuff together. Everything goes in the blender and everything goes in your body. Got it? Okay, so what we're not going to do is we're going to head to the kitchen and I'm going to show you really quickly how to get juice from your blended beverage. Let's go. Okay, so here we have our blended beverage. And again, we blended this. We did not juice it. But for those of you who may only have a blender and you want juice, you don't want all of the pulp or the fiber, what can you do? So here's our popular strainer we're going to put right here. And this is the shift of the makeshift. We always find a way to work around things when we don't have everything we need. We're good for that. So you see how you just pour this through the strainer? So I'm pouring this right down the center of the strainer. That may take a little bit of extra time. And why is that? Because all this juice is trying to make it through this fiber in here. So I got my little spatula with me. And what I'm going to do is just kind of move this around so that this juice can get through those tiny little holes. And as you can see, it's kind of just pushing the juice through, right? So we're straining. What we're doing is straining the juice from the pulp. Now, if we had an actual juicer, we would have put our fruits and vegetables through our juicer. And what comes out on the end, the side, depending on the type of juicer you have, is all of this pulp. However, it hasn't been blended down like this. So it's still a little bit of pulp in here, not a whole lot, again, depending on the quality of your blender. Again, I live by the Vitamix. The Vitamix blends this stuff up so well. So for me, this is just kind of like a thicker juice. So versus a smoothie. And I'm going to show you the pulp that's left over. But look at that. All that juice I was able to just push on out of here. And so what's going to be left in here is some pulp. You see this? This is all the pulp. So again, if I was juicing this, the pulp would be whole. You would be able to hold it in your hand. But this is very, very close to actually using a juicer. So there you have it. Look, I got a whole glass out of that. Look at that. And I could still squeeze some more. Look, that's all the pulp. All the pulp that's left. See how thick that is? And just a little bit more in here. Okay, so that's how you would get some juice from some fruits and veggies that you actually blended. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, Lulu showed you how.